Whether you're grabbing a last-minute gift for a pet parent or just taking stock of what you actually need at home, most pet supply lists miss the mark. They're either full of gimmicks or assume every pet lives the same life. But in this episode, we're sharing true pet parent necessities. 5 for dogs, 5 for cats, plus a bonus item for each that we think every pet household should have. These picks come from our combined many years as pet parents and also running a rescue, and they're focused on safety, behavior, and making day-to-day life easier. If you've ever thought, I wish I had that before something went wrong, this episode is for you. You've reached the Pet Parent Hotline, your lifeline to practical solutions for your toughest pet parenting challenges. I'm your host, Amy Castro, and I'm here to help you cut through the noise and turn expert advice into step-by-step strategies so you can stop chasing your tail and start enjoying life with pets again. So welcome to the Pet Parent Hotline. I am your host, as you know, Amy Castro, and I have with me today Bev Brooks. Now, Bev, rather than me introducing you, let's just let you tell us who you are and what qualifies you to be on this prestigious pet parenting show.
I wasn't prepared for that. We're both qualified because we've had pets our whole lives, starting very young, but then consistently. Beyond that, I've always had pets in my life, and on up to the horse. Giddy up.
Well, and sort of it sort of becomes trial and error. So when you know better, you do better. And what is our relationship? That's where I was really going. Is not necessarily your pet history, but who do you think you are coming on my show?
I'm your bestie, yo.
All right.
That
then
qualifies.
I guess you can stay. There we go. All right. So through our multiple years of experience with pets and having learned a lot of lessons along the way, we decided we're going to split this episode up, and Bev is going to tackle the cat parent items because she exclusively has cats and spends a lot of time ruminating on her cat's needs. I don't know. Does she? And I'm going to focus on the dog stuff because not only do I have 3 dogs of my own, but we fostered quite a few dogs as well. And you learn a lot of things along the way. And sometimes the new shiny thing is not the best thing, and you end up throwing it in the garbage or regifting it. That could happen too. So we're going to go from our 5th on the list to the number 1 on the list. And stick around because we'll each share a bonus item at the end. But Bev, since you're the guest, I will let you kick it off with what is your number 5 cat necessity?
Definitely a necessity. Cats need places to climb up to and get away from, whether it's a toddler, another dog, another cat, high spaces. A cat tower. For the life of me, why are they so expensive? Why? It's just particle board covered in carpet. Make your own. Put shelves on the wall, because he has the run of the house by himself. It's basically 3 floors because I have a basement, so he doesn't need to escape from anybody. But say you live in an apartment with 2 cats and there's just close space, that would be awesome. Their own little space that they can call their own.
Well, and don't you ever find him like up in your loft area looking down at you?
Occasionally he'll be on the railing looking down like a freaking gargoyle, but yeah.
So even though he doesn't have to... Yeah, they like to be up and they like to be in that perching position for sure. And they like to look down on you. Let's just put it that way. And that's a cat for you.
Yes, for sure.
Condescending beasts. So yeah, and you're right. I mean, you could build those things. I think the biggest thing that I have found with cat towers is the height. I mean, as high as you can get it is awesome, and they will go right to the top. Even my cat with no eyes will go right to the top. But it also needs to be sturdy. If you go too cheap and tall, now you've got something that's wobbly, and they don't particularly like to take a flying leap up on something that's then going to fall over. Now you've kind of ruined it for them.
Right.
So, so definitely, take that into consideration.
I wonder if if it's tipsy, if you're willing to secure it with a hole in the wall, like kind of bracing it, like why not? If you're going to put a hole in your wall or put up a shelf, why not secure it? But yeah, they do need that perching.
Actually, that brings up a good point, though, because not only if you were putting things on your walls, but, look around your house and look at what existing vertical space, like it could be the top of the kitchen cabinets. That might be something to build upon, take advantage of those spaces and turn it into something for the cat.
You know what? One more thing about it. I think age has
Yeah.
something to do with it, because when I first moved into this house, the kitchen has exposed beams, and he was able to get up on the fridge, get up on the cabinets, get up on the beams, and it was a chronic occurrence. And now he hasn't done it in years. He's just getting older. So you think about if you have a kitten or a senior, something to consider.
Yeah, how much you really need and how high you need to go, that kind of thing. All right. So my number 5, my dog number 5, is going to sound really, really boring, but it's very essential. And so my number 5 for dogs is having a slip leash. And if people are not familiar with what a slip leash is, it is basically just a leash that does not have any kind of clip that goes onto a collar. It just makes a loop at the end, and the loop will adjust to the size of the dog when you pull it tight. So it's definitely something we use in rescue. It's a one size fits all, and nobody can get out of it once it tightens up. So you may not be in rescue, but as a pet parent, to have a slip leash, especially if you have multiple dogs or you have a collar that you don't keep tight enough, to have something that your pet can't slip out of, whether it's stopping them from going out the front door or when you go to the vet as a backup. I just think it's an essential and easy, so cheap. You can get nice ones. I mean, I've got a couple of nice ones that are cotton that have a good little slider that kind of locks down. And then you can get a cheap, for $1 nylon one. So I think every dog owner needs to have at least one slip leash, in addition to whatever other doggy gear, harnesses, collars, things like that.
It's so inexpensive. Get a bunch of them so they're always at the ready. Yeah.
Yeah. Super, super handy. And that's why, if you've ever gone to the vet and, you go with your nice collar and your nice leash and the vet tech comes out, a lot of times if they're going to take your pet back, they'll put the slip leash, hand you back your own leash. They do that because too many times people buy collars for looks and then they don't fit them right. And a loose fitting collar is so dangerous, but we'll get to that in just a minute.
Understood.
So,
yeah.
Moving along to item number 4.
Cat item number 4, I would have to say, is the UV flashlight. Yeah.
The stink light, as we call it around here.
I like that. Now, you know that I have the worst nose in the world. You smell stuff from a mile away. I would need a UV flashlight for spotting accidents that I can't smell.
Yeah, and I do have one, because although I do have the nose of a bloodhound, I will know it's somewhere, but trying to identify exactly where it is. And so, it's basically just a black light, and they come in a wide range of sizes too. I mean, it could be the tiniest thing, or the one I've got's got a big head on the end, but I will warn you, though, if you have children, what the black light is picking up on is basically like bodily fluids and proteins and things like that. So, in the murder mystery, when they spray the luminol and the freaking house glows, that's what it can look like. And so don't freak out, because you're going to think the animal has peed all over the place. But it could just be like your kid spilled milk there, and even though you cleaned it up, the protein molecules are still there. I'm always looking. I did it in my bedroom the other day because I saw sort of like it looked a little discolored, and it's like, okay, is that pee? And sometimes you just don't want it. So here's what happens to me all the time. You try to stick your nose close enough to smell it, and the next thing you know, you've stuck your nose in the carpet, or you pick up a cloth. Come on, you've all done it. You stick it right up against your nose, and then you realize it smells like pee, but you've now touched it to your face.
Oh.
I know, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
So, don't worry about what it is. If it glows, it goes.
All right.
And then you go get your cleaner and get that taken care of.
The stink light. I like that.
Stink light. Yeah. I think everybody needs them. Especially like you're wondering if your dog's lifting its leg, you got a new dog or something like that. So there you go.
All right, you're up.
All right, I'm up. Now, so my number 4, mine are kind of boring. Yours involve crime scenes and everything else. So my number 4 is that I think every dog owner should have on their dog a Martingale collar. And what a Martingale collar is a dog collar, and instead of having a buckle or a latch that clasps and you have to adjust it to the size. Oftentimes it is adjustable, but then it has this loop of the collar material. So it's a loop attached to the collar. And so what it does is it allows you to keep your collar on your dog quite loose. But when you need it to be tightened and not slip over their heads, that extra loop pulls the two sides of the main collar together and tightens the collar up.
Got it.
And where it works, and I just saw this the other day, a person's in the parking lot trying to get their animal to go into the pet shop, and it backs right out of the collar in the parking lot. It's like, that's just, you're going to get your animal run over by a car. So the Martingale collar avoids that. And they come in all kinds of materials. They come in pretty ones. They come adjustable ones. And what it also does when you adjust it properly, it provides an even pressure without choking your dog. It doesn't continue to get tighter. It has limits to how tight it can get.
Right.
I discovered it when I had a Doberman, because my Doberman's neck was significantly wider than his head. So there was no way you were ever going to get a collar that would fit him properly and not slide over his head. So anytime you've got a dog with a head that's smaller than their neck, you absolutely need to have a Martingale collar.
What do you have with Gunny?
It's a Martingale, even though her head's big. But the reason I like the Martingale is because the actual loop at the top of the Martingale becomes a good handle. It's just an easy way to grab hold, and then you get that control. So let's just say, for example, we're at the door and I want to stick my head out the door to see who's at the door. I can grab that Martingale collar. She can't slip out of it, and I get better control over her. So the only time you really can use a regular collar is if it's obvious that your dog's head is significantly bigger than their neck. Sometimes people call it a greyhound collar too, just so you know.
Why?
Because greyhounds have bigger necks than they do heads.
Did not know that.
Think about those long, skinny heads.
Are they any more or less expensive than a regular collar, or they're in the same price range?
Definitely in the same price range.
Okay, so it should be a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That's a little bit more control, a little bit more safety. You don't want your dog getting loose in the parking lot of Stop and Shop.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I've seen it recently at the vet.
At the vet.
You're going into the vet, your dog's like, oh, hell no, I'm not going in there. And now the dog stops and you're still pulling, and then off goes the collar and bye.
Yeah.
Dog's gone.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, do yourself a favor and get one for sure.
Yep. All right, so that was my number 4. So we're on what, 3 for you?
Number 3, the heating pad. Cuzzy loves his heating pad, and I love Cuzzy, so I got him too.
Whatever, man. Tell us why it's so important.
For his comfort now that he's geriatric.
Is he geriatric? How old is he now?
I think he's 14. I'm not sure. I live in Massachusetts on Cape Cod, and I like to keep my house cool, like 61, 62. It's really cool. I have found him several times leaning up against the baseboard heater, like, oh, just a little heat.
I got a picture of that too. I'll put that in the video.
So yeah, he gets one in the window because every cat needs a window to look out and cackle at the birds and the squirrels. And he has a heating pad on the couch next to me because it's not soft enough.
Oh my God.
And I got it specifically for pets, so you can leave it on. I do not, because I'm the kind of person who unplugs the toaster when I go away.
Well, and cats in general, they like to be warm. They don't like to be cold. And their normal body temperature is like 102, right? Isn't it?
Right.
102, somewhere in that zone. So, if your house is 60 degrees, they're going to feel that cool, I would think. And so, having something warm to lay on, they're going to love it. But I would say just be careful if you are going to be using it with baby animals. Make sure that there's space in their enclosure that they can get off of it if they need to. Because, you can overheat them for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
So
very good. Yeah, that's a good one.
All right. So that was your number 3. So my number 3, and we haven't really necessarily thrown out brands, but I am going to sort of throw out a brand on this one. So a nail grinder. I think if you've got a dog and you're paying somebody else to cut your dog's nails, I think it's definitely something, if you're looking to save money, cut your own dog's nails. And you can do it more frequently and get them used to it and do all the things that we've talked about before as far as, getting them used to the nail trimmer. But what I will say is, an easier, safer method rather than using nail clippers is to use a grinder. I just recently got a new one, which I'm a huge fan of. So it's a Dremel specifically for pets, and it's cordless. So it's so convenient and it's powerful. Now, if you want to get some kind of like petty paws, those are okay. But I will tell you that if you're trying to do a larger dog or a dog that has harder nails, those cheaper handheld battery operated ones that they advertise on TV, it's not going to be powerful enough. It's going to be less intimidating for the user from a clipper standpoint, you're less likely to make the nail bleed or hit the quick. You could totally maintain your own pet's nails that way and save yourself a trip to the groomer or the vet or wherever you're getting it done, and also maintain proper nail length for your pet so that they don't have mobility issues or get arthritis in their feet because or listening to the clicky clacky. If you're hearing the clicky clacky on the floor, your dog's nails are too long.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the bottom line.
You got to be disciplined about that and start early, start young. Who is the biggest drama queen when it comes to clipping in your house?
Gigi.
I knew it. I knew it was going to be Gigi.
Yeah. So it's funny you bring that up or ask that question because I did Gigi's nails yesterday and I did not use the Dremel because her nails are weirdly long and kind of straight out. They're very, very odd. And I thought, I'm just going to clip the ends of these. I made 2 nails bleed. Because their quicks are really long. So I should have been using the grinder. And it was, of course, the last 2 nails, right? That's always
What's that white powder stuff that you should
Styptic powder.
So buy the styptic powder.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, though. With the grinder, if your technique is proper, you'll see the change as you're getting closer to the quick. And so I've never made anybody bleed with the grinder. The trickiest part with the grinder is getting them used to the noise. Nope. They're never going to love it, but it's a lot safer.
For sure. All right. We're up to number 2.
Okay.
One of my essentials is a high-walled litter box. So back in the day when Cuzzy was younger, I had, instead of a litter box, a giant tote, like a 64 quart or a 64 whatever, something you put Christmas decorations in, like huge, and fill that up with litter. And Amy brought up a good point about, number 1, the litter might be too deep to feel safe to be in there. Number 2, an older cat is not going to have an easy time getting in and out of that box, whatever. So I did change it to a shallower box, but to me, a bigger box is easier for everybody. He has more room. The high wall is good for a cat who's not very good at aim, or he tends to not squat when they're peeing.
Yeah. Well, and it also helps. I mean, I use them around here because some cats will go in, do their business, and then just leave. They're like, yeah, that's your problem. Take care of that. Other cats will, like, they're trying to dig a hole to bury a body, and they're kicking buckets of litter outside the litter box all over the place. So I would say definitely if you're somebody that has an issue with either A, like Bev said, the cat doesn't squat and just kind of pees and shoots out the litter box and you're constantly wiping up pee off the side of your dryer or your shower or on the floor, or if you've got someone that kicks litter everywhere, having those high sides. Yeah. I don't think I would ever. And they have some that have lower cutouts, or like you said, make your own, and then you can make the opening if you need it. You could cut an opening to whatever height your animal can handle to hop over and go in and use it.
You want it to be easy for them to not have an issue using it, and you don't want to have something that's difficult for you to use.
I think it's just something you have to experiment as to what will your cat use. But one of the key things with the high sides at minimum, if you're like me, and the area around the litter box becomes a big mess, it makes you want to deal with it less and less.
Yeah.
And that's bad. That's bad because then you're leaving a dirty litter box or litter all over the place or whatever, and then your cat doesn't want to use it either. So by knowing, okay, I've got this high-sided litter box, everything's going to be contained to the inside, you don't have to think about, no, I got to get the mop, and I got to mop the floors and the walls, and I got to pick up the litter box and clean the pee that went under there. And then you're just like, yeah, maybe I'll do that tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. And everyone's different. Every cat is different. And if you live in a little apartment, you're going to be limited in what you can have, what's going to work for you and your pet.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. So that was number 2. All right. So my number 2, now we're getting up to the good stuff. This one I could not live without, and that is a spot cleaner. So the one that I have now is a little green clean machine, but it's the Max. It's smaller and more compact than my previous little green clean machine. So I just think it's essential because when you do find those glow in the dark spots, you could spray some cleaner on there and some enzyme stuff, but do you want to just leave all that in there? Or for dogs especially, they throw up on the carpet, they throw up on a chair. I don't want to just put some cleaner on there and rub it around. I like to get it out of there. And that's why
I never thought of that. You're absolutely right. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, but it's surprising the people that will say, I cleaned that up. And it's like, but did you really clean it up? Because
Right.
some things you might be able to clean up okay with some spray and a paper towel or a rag, but I want it sucked up and out. What I will say about the spot cleaner too is, number one, I think you need to look for one that's easy to clean. So that's one of the things that I hated about my previous one. The dirty tank on the thing had a small opening, and it was very hard to get it to actually be clean. And I don't want to see that sitting around. It was disgusting to look at.
Yeah.
So I love the new one because the new one has a much bigger opening in the dirty tank. So once I dump that out and rinse out the dirty tank, I can actually get in there with a brush and scrub it out. And the other thing that I will say as far as the spot cleaner, don't get a giant one, because that's the other thing that I find with cleaning stuff is that you think, oh, I'll just get the big one, right? Because it's just almost as cheap or whatever. But now you got to store it. And then when you have something big, then you're like, do I really want to drag that out? Maybe I'll just spray the spray and hope for the best.
Perfect. Yeah, that's
Take that into consideration.
Yeah.
I think that could be a cat or a dog product too, because cats obviously puke on the carpet and puke on the furniture. Yeah, he does. Don't lie. All right, down to the number one.
Number one is the water dish, which to me should be a bubbler, something that has moving water in it. As long as the water is moving, everybody loves moving water. And when you think about it, and they're living out in the wild, living their best life as wild animals, stagnant water is going to have issues. It's not going to be clean. Running water will be clean. And that's one of the reasons that they want the moving water. So,
yeah,
I mean, the bubbler that I've had, oh gosh, easily 10 years old. And it's just plastic. It's just a little plastic square bubbler. It has a green lid and it usually has a flower on top.
Yeah, but aren't those a pain in the butt to clean?
This one I would say is medium issue. I try to do it at least once a week, if not at least once every 2 weeks, to clean it out. But again, I only have one cat. You want to make it easier on yourself because otherwise you're not going to use it. You're not going to clean it. Nobody wins. Otherwise, if I gave him a bowl, he's one of those guys who's batting it around. A big water bowl. He'll just play in it. Maybe that's
some
to make
cats
it
will
move
be
too.
digging it. Yeah.
Digging it. Why do they
trying
do that?
to dig the? I think they're trying to. If
See
you
the
think about
bottom?
a maybe, or if you think about a puddle, there could be debris or something on the top. So I'm trying to get down to the clean water or clear water. So what I would say with the pet fountains, I think that they're awesome, but I'm telling you right now, don't get one if you're not going to clean it. Either find one that's going to be easy to clean, and they've evolved as time has gone on they've become easier to clean. But if you think it's one of those things where you're just going to set it up and leave it, the biofilm and bacteria that ends up built up in those, you're offsetting any benefit of the moving water. And if you do have multiple cats, because I've got 3, that filter that you think you only have to change and clean once a week, it's more frequent than that.
And if you think, oh, I don't want to do it, it's a lot of work, would you want to drink out of it?
Yeah.
You got to have clean water.
Yeah.
And that's the least you can do for your pet, is to have clean water.
Yeah, I had a fountain for the dogs too. And I went back to the bowl because it's so much easier for me every single day. At the end of the day, I take that stainless steel bowl and I scrub it out with soap and water. You can't just keep putting water in it. It's got bacteria and slobber. Then I fill it with fresh water, and I do it every single day. And it's not a hassle, right? Because I got to put the water in it anyway. But that fountain that I had for the dogs, you had to take it apart, and you have to take the propellers out. It's like you got to clean the actual pump that's in it. I just couldn't.
Yeah.
I'm too lazy. So,
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, just find what's going to work for you.
All right. So my number one is, and I struggled on this one, but a pet camera. Okay. So it doesn't really matter which one you get, but I think it depends on what your intention is with the pet camera. So we've had on the show before Ruth Hegarty, and she's a dog trainer, and she's a big believer in the Furbo. And I think the Furbo is awesome because depending upon what you do with the Furbo, whether you just buy one and you just have access to look at your pet, or you have the subscription, so that's an ongoing thing where you can do more with it.
What do you mean a subscription? What does that do?
The Furbo can be used as a standalone camera, and you can talk to your pet, you can toss your pet treats, but the subscription has more advanced features like alerts and video history. And there are obviously lots of different types of cameras out there. I've even used game cameras that we've had. It's like if I'm trying to figure out who's peeing in the living room, go set up that game camera. It's motion sensitive. And then you've got to pull the memory card out, put it in your computer, and then look at the video. And there's everything in between as far as cameras go. But I think the point is that if you are wanting to know, what is my pet doing when I'm not there? How are they spending their day when I'm at work? Or like I'm having an issue right now where my dog has discovered that if I leave the house, she can knock down the baby gate and go eat all the cat food. And it will happen within 40 seconds of me being outside the front door.
Oh my gosh.
As a matter of fact, the other day it happened because she thought I was gone, but I wasn't. And I heard that gate being rattled and I went out and caught her in the act. So what I like about having a pet camera is you can catch things like that. Either trying to figure out who the culprit is that's peeing on the dining room rug or the floor or lifting their leg on something if you have multiple pets. Or if I've got a camera set up on the kitchen counter and see her busting in on that gate, I can talk to her and be like, hey, and tell them to stop. If you've got a pet with separation anxiety, you can see what they're doing. Sometimes it might tell you there's a problem, and sometimes it might be very reassuring for a pet parent who thinks, oh, my dog's going to be devastated while I'm gone all day, and then they, settle down and go right to sleep as soon as you leave. So the camera can be super helpful. And again, you get the kind that you need based on what your goals are.
You jogged my memory. I bought a camera, or maybe it was two. You could operate from your cell phone. So I'm like, I'm going to go to work and I'm going to look on my cell phone and see what Cuzzy's doing and everything. So I set everything up. I go to work and I'm looking. You know what he does for 8 hours when I'm gone?
Sleeps.
He sleeps. So all I did for 8 hours is look at this little black lump on a couch. Yeah, so that didn't last very long.
Yeah,
because
But was it reassuring to know that he wasn't like meowing at the door and pacing back and forth? Because sometimes people think that, and sometimes they might be. And if that's the case, if your pet is in distress the entire time, then maybe you need a dog sitter or you need doggy daycare. So the key is before you start camera shopping is to figure out, what am I trying to accomplish by getting a camera? What am I going to use it for? And then go look for the features, because it is such a wide range. And maybe you don't need a monthly subscription for life. Yeah. All right. So do you have a bonus item?
I do. It's an automatic feeder, a timed automatic feeder. How awesome is that? And I got it because when I was working, I had, different shifts. So sometimes I'd leave the house at 6:15, 6:30. And there was times when I'm working at night, I didn't get home till 11:30 or even later. So it would be nice to have something guaranteed for him. Why should he suffer because I'm working swing shifts? But the auto feeders that are out now, yes, they can be expensive, but they can really make life more consistent for your pet when yours is not. So if you have a job that you might be asked to stay and work late, or going early, or your life is just chaos, whether it's taking kids to practice or things like that. And if it's not the regular meal, at least it's something to tide them over until you do get home. He's gotten into the habit of being used to it, so I just kept it. So he gets the same thing that he's had for years.
And he sits there and waits for it to go off.
He does, the poor thing. He'll sit there as long as an hour and a half and just sit there and stare at the feeder and then just leaps at it. Although now that he's getting older, there's times where he goes off and he's like, what's that? And he has to get up and go get it. Yeah.
Well, and I think for dogs, I could see a scenario where you're going to be home in 30 minutes. And so you feed the dog. And that way, when you get home, you can go out for a walk and take him potty, as opposed to, it's just like one extra thing. But you hit the nail on the head from the standpoint of consistency. I mean, I think pets love a schedule. And so keeping them on a schedule is good for them, good for you. So my bonus one that I'm going to toss in is a DNA test for your dog.
Oh,
and so, in rescue, we use them, not a lot because they're not cheap, but why I would advocate for that for pet parents are a couple of things. Number one, if you're somebody that rents and your apartment complex has a ban on pit bulls, and, your dog could look a lot like a pit bull and have no pit bull or very little pit bull in it. So being able to show those DNA results and to say, these are my dog's DNA results and he does not have any pit bull in him, then, you might have access to housing that you didn't have before. The other thing that I think it helps with is for veterinary care, for your veterinarian to know that your dog is X%. And of course, a lot of the DNA tests now do health prediction things, et cetera, based on your dog's DNA. But I think too many times we assume our pets pets are a certain thing, and then we treat them as such. Like, oh, this looks like a golden retriever, so this is what we know about golden retrievers, and this is their health issues. I have a friend who thought she had a golden retriever, and I would have told her it was a golden retriever. It has 0 golden retriever in it.
Oh.
So, and again, from the standpoint of like, what do you do with that data, right? But I think if you come back and your dog is 60% something, that's a pretty good chunk. And so maybe of that breed, you keep an eye out for certain health issues because a good chunk of your dog has that breed in them. So
I never thought of that.
Yeah. And, and it's just kind of fun. Like my little Chihuahua, who I thought would have had a lot of Chihuahua in her. She's got all kind of weird stuff. Gigi's got Yorkie and all this other stuff. And my Bulldog, she turned out to be 2/3 English Bulldog and 1/3 American Bulldog. So she's got a ton of Bulldog in her. And obviously has Bulldog issues. If you have a friend or a family member that has not DNA tested their dog, I think that would be an awesome gift.
That would be a great gift. Yeah. Is it done the same way people, like a swab inside the mouth?
Yep.
Is it so easy?
Yep.
Easy peasy.
Yeah.
Get it done.
Yeah. And we've done it a couple of times. We had a dog that came through that had, she's very shepherdy looking. And the way that this dog acted, I was like, that dog's got a lot of Malinois in her. It made a difference to the person that was potentially adopting her because that's not a dog for everybody. Let's just put it that way. It's 100% not a dog for everybody. And a lot of people who have them shouldn't even have them. And I was right. She wasn't 100%, but she had a very high percentage in there. And, it just means something different about how you're going to raise that dog. So I think it's super helpful for somebody that's got a new puppy, especially if they adopt and they don't know what it is. And on that note, just a sidebar note, when you adopt from a rescue or a shelter and their paperwork or the online thing said they were a certain breed, it's just somebody guessing based on their looks. Okay. It's probably 95% chance that somebody just went based on looks and it wasn't DNA tested unless you ask and say that it was. And we know that identification of breed by appearance is very inaccurate. So don't assume that that's what your dog is just because they said so, because it's probably not.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. I didn't know that about apartment complexes either. Is that like a Texas thing or is that pretty much everywhere?
It's a thing.
Really?
It's a thing. Oh, here's another thing too, though. Homeowners insurance.
Huh? No way.
Yeah. It can impact your homeowner's insurance, certain breeds.
You're telling me if I have like a golden retriever versus a Malinois, might change my house insurance.
Well, it's a liability thing. That's what they're basing it on, is what are the odds that this animal is going to harm somebody and we're going to have to pay out?
I had no idea.
So with the homeowner's insurance, it's going to come up because they're going to ask you, if you have dogs, what breed are they? And so if you're going to take the hit and pay the extra insurance for the Malinois or the Pit Bull, then I would at least DNA test them and confirm it, because if you can show that they don't have any of that breed in them, you save yourself a bunch on your insurance.
Had no idea. No idea.
Yeah. And there you have it, folks.
Those are the essentials. Take care of your pets. Make it easy on you. Make it easy on them, right?
There you go. Yeah. So, and obviously if we had done a more extensive list, we could come up with all kinds of things. But I think, these are the kind of things that can have a really big impact on your life. And they're pretty simple things that we can get to make our lives easier, make our pets safer, save ourselves some money, or all of the above. All right, Bev, well, thank you so much for being on the show and representing the cat people.
Always happy to help you out and have me on anytime.
If this episode helped you rethink what you actually need for your pet, do yourself a favor and save it, especially if the holidays or a new pet are on your radar. And if you know a pet parent who's overwhelmed, new to pets, or shopping for all the wrong things, send this episode their way. It might save them some money, stress, or an emergency they never saw coming. As always, we're here to help you make smarter, calmer decisions for your pets without all the noise. Thanks for listening to the Pet Parent Hotline. If you enjoyed the show, don't keep it to yourself. Text a friend right now with a link and tell them I've got a show that you need to hear, and ask them to let you know what they think. And remember, your pet's best life starts with you living yours. So be sure to take good care of yourself this week and your pets.